DeLand, speech pathologist and myofunctional therapist. Today I'm going to discuss what a tongue tie is and how that might cause a tongue thrust or a lisp. I'll list some symptoms and red flags that maybe your kiddo has a tongue tie. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, a tongue tie is when the back part of the tongue is tied tightly to the floor of the mouth, causing the low lingual posture. Correct position of the tongue should be up in the hard palate all the way up here. I like to call this the crib for the tongue because that's where the tongue should be at rest and when we're sleeping or not speaking. This is the position of the tongue. And what happens in this position is the tongue swallows. The tip goes right here on the spot and is a nice wave against the hard palate, reinforcing the width of the palate. Now, wherever we swallow, speech will follow because speech is initiated at the resting position. So, if your kiddo has correct resting position of the tongue, then he or she should have a great swallow and accurate speech production. Now, if your kiddo has a tongue tie, the tongue might be tethered tightly in the back of the tongue, causing it to rest down here, making its cradle in the floor of the mouth. Now, what happens with that posturing is that the child will swallow in this position, causing the tongue to thrust forward between the teeth. Now, when we're swallowing in this position, the speech will follow the swallow. So that means speech will initiate from a low position, causing a lisp. You might hear the tongue coming through the teeth for the S sounds, or maybe laterally, or it might sound slushy or slurred, or you might even think that your child is just lazy when they speak. So these kiddos have to really pull their tongue up and back to create those S sounds, because the S sound, the tongue should be up like this behind the upper teeth, not down here, and certainly not between the teeth. This, my friends, is a lisp. As cute as they are, they can be treated and we can help your kiddo's speech. Okay, now I'm going to list some symptoms and red flags that your kiddo may have a tongue tie. The first symptom, which I find to be very common amongst most of my clients, is that you'll see overcrowding in the upper incisors. When the baby teeth are crowded and pushed together, this tells me that this child may have a high arched palate. Now, let's talk about how that could be caused. If your child's tongue is resting in the floor of the mouth, it's not up here where it needs to be. When the tongue is up here, every time we swallow, and that's twice a minute we swallow, the tongue is reinforcing and doing a nice wave against the hard palate. And what this does over time is it creates the width of our palate. Now, if we have a nice wide palate, we have plenty of room for the baby teeth to grow in. But if our tongue is tethered tightly to the floor of our mouth, our palate can grow over time to be high and arched like this. So causing more of a rainbow arch in the front of the teeth, which you can also see, and overcrowding. Now, the roof of our mouth is the floor of our nasal cavity. So what can a high arched palate cause for your nasal cavity? It can cause a deviated septum. And that can cause difficulty for the nasal breathing, causing a child to breathe out of their mouth. So what happens with mouth breathing? Well, you can inflame your tonsils and adenoids because you're not clearing the air properly as you breathe through your mouth. A mouth is not meant for breathing. It's only meant for eating or talking. Our nose is meant for breathing because that's how we inhale air properly and we clean the air as we breathe it in our lungs. So it's filtered as it comes in. So kiddos who are tongue-tied may have open mouth posture. Okay, so let's talk about how a tongue tie could affect your child's sleep and what symptoms you might notice. Well, when your tongue is tethered tightly to the floor of your mouth, it can cause a restricted airway at night. because the tongue is getting pulled back and down, especially when your child sleeps on their back. Now, a restricted airway can cause audible breathing or mouth breathing or snoring or even worse, sleep apnea, because these kiddos are trying to gain oxygen at night and they might toss and turn to try to find a good position to clear up their airway. You might hear grinding of their teeth at night, and these kiddos wake up feeling unrested in the morning. You might even see venous pooling under their eyes, which are the black circles. So if any of these symptoms resonate with you and your child, please don't hesitate to contact us or leave us a message below. We'd love to hear from you. For more information on how we can help your child's speech and swallowing skills, go to our website at playconnectgrow.com. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to play and connect and to grow with your child. Have a great day.